Hey everybody, it's Soger. Let's go ahead and talk about city population. This is a thing that I see people making mistakes on all the time. Let me get this all the way. I play single player Deity, and my goal is to win the game in the fewest turns possible for my chosen victory type. So if you're not playing, if you're playing a more casual, this information might not apply to you directly. This is for efficient play. My opinions always reflect that. All right, so now when you're looking at city population, the biggest mistake I see is people are always trying to maximize the population in their city. And to me, that is completely backwards. Outside of your capital and a few outlier cities, there is never a reason that a city needs more than seven population. I understand the belief that, oh, if I have more population, my production's going to be higher, which equates to more yields. But production doesn't win games. I know that a million people are going to jump in and say production is the most important. It's not. Culture wins culture games. Science wins science games. Science wins domination games. And culture wins diplomatic games. And, well, faith wins religious games. I don't see a production victory. Every victory type can be achieved with minimal production input. It's not that important of a yield. What is important is getting your districts out. And it's important that you get the correct districts. So now when we're growing our cities to 10, 15, 20 population, what districts are you growing to that matters? If you get to seven population, that is three districts. Somebody actually coined this in one of my previous videos, and they said they'd never heard of the seven population meta before. And that's because I don't think it was really a thing until he said it. The reality is, seven population is perfect because that gives you an accessory district, which is usually a holy site in the early game, to start generating currency, which faith is a very strong currency. Your second district, which is going to be a trade district, whether that be a commercial hub or a harbor, to give you a trade route to help either grow that city or future cities as quickly as possible to get those district slots down. And then your third city, or your third district in the city, which would be your game winning yield. In your culture games, that would be a theater square. In your science game, that would be a campus. After that, every other district is irrelevant. Now, that's at the very beginning of the game. Now, once you start getting into the middle of the game, you can start dropping those holy sites. Once you get past the classical medieval era, that faith per turn really isn't paying off so much anymore. So you can either get a four population city that's going to perform just as well, being just a trade district in a campus or theater square, or you can roll that third district now into an industrial zone or into an encampment if you want more holding of strategic resources for a science game for aluminum at the end of the game. Or you can start putting out the district for your non-win type. That would be putting out theater squares for a science game or putting out campuses in a culture game to start moving down that tree a little bit faster. But at no point do you ever need these massive, like 10 plus population cities. Like your capital is generally always going to get to be about 15, 20 population in the length of the game. And that is really the only city that needs multiple districts. That's going to usually be your city that has the government plaza if you're playing for efficient play, because it's going to be the first city that has access to build it in a timely manner. That's going to be the city that gets your diplomatic quarter to be your trade hub with the government plaza. So you're also have multiple great engineers that provide district slots. So even if your capital isn't growing, or whatever city winds up with your government plaza and diplomat quarter, you can use those great engineers to get your district slots in those cities. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, what's the problem with growing your population over seven? Well, every time you add two population to a city, every time you hit an even number of population, you require another amenity. So eight 8 population requires more than 7. 10 population requires more than 9. Now, this starts to matter because your capital in your early cities are always going to be creating more yields than almost every city for the majority of the game. So when you're getting a city that is providing very low yields, but it starts getting 10 population, that's taking amenities from luxuries that could be going to your capital, that could be going to your second or third cities that are already producing more science, more culture because they have their game winning yield districts out. It's taking the luxury amenities away from those and putting it to your new settled city that's getting this more population. So the more you can control your population, the better. This is why improvements such as farms are really just any tile improvement that provides housing. I don't build unless it's a luxury. Um, and I get this comment a lot that I don't improve a lot of tiles. Yeah, because tile yields don't really do much. Districts win games. There's very few tiles that provide science or culture. Districts provide that. So, this is also why the trade district is so important because you can put that trade route in a new city, get its population up to 7 or 10. If you want to build, let's say, an entertainment complex to get amenities around, you can go up to 10. But now, once you get it to the population that you're comfortable at, or once you got all your districts out, that trade route can leave, and now you're losing 3 or 4 food per turn, which is going to make that population stagnant, which is going to keep the amenity cost of that city locked in place, which is super important because if your capital is making 20% more tiled yields because it's at ecstatic level, you're going to be getting more game winning yields than 3 or 4 freshly settled cities that are providing nothing. Now, there's two giant caveats to this. Obviously, Khmer and Yongle, you want those. Those would be the two caveats right there. If you're playing with Khmer or Yongle, there is a huge, huge benefit to having a very, very high population. In those cases, disregard this entire video. If you're playing Khmer or Yongle, that's great. Otherwise, you want to be at between 7 and 10 population for your early cities. And at the end game, if you're getting to 4 population, you're probably pretty good. So yeah, I guess that's just my thing is when you're uh, going forward, when you're playing, try to actively work tiles and produce your cities in a manner that they're capping out and see how much easier it is to reach that 20% ecstatic in multiple cities in your empire versus when you're letting your population grow to control and just see how many more game winning yields you're getting. I hope this helps you in your future games. If you enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment section below, and I will try and address all of them. Thank you for watching.